Hi guys. Debating under the motion, this House, assuming feasibility, will allow people to erase their memories. First speaker from Proposition.
Let me begin now. A woman was married to a respectable lawyer and had three kids. The woman's father faked her disappearance and locked her up in his basement for 20 years. The woman was sexually assaulted by him and eventually had five kids. If I was this woman, I want to erase all my memories instead of being traumatized every day by the memory of being sexually harassed. The government should take the duty and responsibility to support the motion. Moving on back to my speech. What is our stance? We support people to delete their most painful memories if such technology and process is possible. I would like to characterize this debate more clearly. The stakeholders of this motion are the people who get their traumatic memories erased and the medical and scientific community, including professionals. People who get their memories erased will have a happier life and savor their freedom. The medical scientific community will experience a great benefit, becoming financially wealthier. Now, I would like to move on to my argument. Number one, our belief will support people who have experienced a crime, breakups between relationships, and an economically poor life and more traumatic memories. People who choose to erase their memories on their own will result in not remembering any painful experiences that they have experienced throughout their life. It will recover PTSD, state of stress, depression, and anxiety in daily life. For example, let's say I survived in a severe car accident. Now I'm afraid of roads, cars, and any transportations. The city is filled with roads and cars, and I am afraid of them. I will not be able to get out of my house and go anywhere. To recover from this trauma, it will take lots of time and effort. Instead, I can choose to delete all my memories and uh, I had with the car accident. It will help me live a better life without being scared of the road, cars, and transportations. Number two, any guilt or wrongdoing will not help people have a normal life. If someone has done something wrong, they might shrink in fear of doing the same thing over again. It will prevent them from having the freedom to interact with others and meet new people and do something. Let me explain what could happen. Imagine a teacher who once lost their temper and yelled harshly at a student and affected them mentally. Even after apology and forgiveness, the teacher can still carry around the guilt. It will make the teacher fearful of standing in front of students again and can even prevent them from continuing the career that they loved. Lastly, erasing memories will hit a big impact on the medical and scientific community, including professionals. The fact that erasing memories is available means that technology can be erased in a faster and a better way. It will support the technology of the world to grow and let scientists to experiment more things. In addition, if one person becomes successful by erasing their memories, everyone would bring any amount of money, asking for them to erase their own traumatic memories too. It will bring a large benefit to the scientific community and professionals. It will also make them financially wealthier, making a large benefit. Vote for proposition. Thank you.
Thank you for that speech. I'd like to invite the first speaker of opposition. Here.
Hello, fellow judge and debaters. Today I will talk about the opposition of this topic. To start, erasing people's memories could result in confusion and difficulty of performing tasks remembered from the past. You could lose a sense of yourself and forget your identity. Also, losing memory could cause a harder time learning information. Imagine a scenario where half the world loses the ability to learn simple information, like common stuff they would learn in kindergarten or preschool. Imagine the struggle of a world where we want development in our species. In that state, AI could probably take over our world and just develop instead of us. In a situation where someone wants to forget an event, there'll always be a build up to the event, which could cause forgetting more important information before the event. The other team said that erasing memories would make you live a better life after you erase memories, but wouldn't you learn from your mistakes if you hadn't erased them? Just getting rid of your memories can't lose all your problems. Also, where the scenario that was describing about the teacher, wouldn't the teacher just want to remember the mistakes to not cause it again? What if the teacher makes the same mistake? Erasing a single memory could also result in removing huge chains towards people. For example, if someone in your family forgot a bad memory of a family member dying, that wouldn't that also result in also forgetting about that family member? Additionally, you only live once, which is very important in your life because you can't always be happy, and eventually you have to remember the pain in your life. If you just keep forgetting all the pain, when you experience more pain for the first time, you'll always experience more pain than before. Last, having memory loss could cause a chain of forgetting important events or people in their lives. Thank you.
Thank you for that speech. Second speaker of proposition. Hear, hear.
We stand today at the edge of a profound shift in how we approach human suffering and dignity. I rise to propose this motion because it is not only a question of science, it is a question of human freedom, mental health, and moral responsibility. We in the proposition firmly believe that if technology exists to allow the selective erasure of memories, it should be made available with ethical regulation for those who wish to use it. This is not a dystopian fantasy. This is a real possibility for liberation from years of psychological torment. Let me lay out three key arguments in support of this motion. Argument 1, relief from trauma and mental illness. I am a second Gulf War military veteran. Every single day, I struggle to function as a normal human being. I've developed extreme stances that I know are wrong, but can't do anything about it. I can't sleep. I can't do things that you would see as normal life. This is exactly the kind of person that would benefit from a memory erasure. Would you really want them to just suffer in pain, knowing that there are options to fix that, but just not doing anything? Millions of people live every day haunted by memories so traumatic that their lives are rendered nearly unlivable. Veterans relive the battlefield in their sleep. Flashbacks in prison survivors of violent crime. Accident victims live in fear of past that keeps ambushing their present. Let me be clear, existing treatments are not enough. Therapy, medication, mindfulness, these may ease symptoms, but they do not address the root cause, the memory itself. PTSD affects 7 to 8% of the population. For nearly half of them, treatment brings minimal benefit. Why do we let people suffer indefinitely when the root of their pain can be precisely removed with minimal consequences? Selective memory erasure offers a revolutionary medical intervention, not to forget reality, but to relieve unbearable pain. Just as we surgically remove tumors, we should allow people to remove psychological trauma, not to ease their personality, but to reclaim their lives. It's argument 2, autonomy and the right to mental self-determination. Every individual has the right to their own body, the right to choose what happens to themselves and their mind. If I can choose what food I eat, what I believe, and what medical care I receive, why should I not have the right to choose what I remember? This technology is not about forced erasure or manipulation. It is about consent, about giving people their choice to no longer be defined by their worst experiences. This is mental agency, the next frontier of human rights. The ability to decide what kind of self you wish to be. For some, healing will come from confronting their trauma, but for others, healing comes from being able to let it go. Oh, this motion provides that choice. Argument 3, social and economic benefits. Beyond the personal, obvious ethical implications of this, the societal case is overwhelming. Mental illnesses cost the US economy alone over $200 billion a year in lost productivity, healthcare, and social services. And the UK is not that far behind either. When individuals are free from this disabling memories, they return to work, to family, to society. They contribute, they create, they live fully. Families grow more stable. The once absent father might suddenly become cheerful again. Communities become more supportive. Governments feel less burdened. Let me also compare this to other treatments. Psilocybin or magic mushrooms has shown promise for treating depression trauma, yet it too has a history of illegal drug abuse. Will we deny it based on its potential misuse? No, of course not. We regulate it. The same applies to memory erasure. You're not just going to give up something that could have countless benefits for millions of people just because someone might accidentally misuse it. With proper ethical oversight, regulation, and consent mechanisms, the benefits far outweigh the risks. We as proposition see a future where memory erasal under clear, safe conditions allow people who have experienced trauma that some of us couldn't imagine going through to live safe, normal lives. The opposition may say but that memories shape who we are and erasing them is dangerous. However, suffering should not be the price of identity. We already alter our biology with antidepressants, ADHD medication, and even plastic surgery. What makes this different? Why is the mind suddenly off limits? They may argue that it may be used unethically to cover up crimes or manipulate people, but that is a governance issue, not a technological one. We don't ban AI or medical data or genetic therapy because they can be abused. We regulate them. We can do the same here. They might also argue that this means that the same mistakes will be. They also argue that this allows the same mistakes to be committed over and over again. And however, they have failed to consider that we as humans have a moral compass. Just because we slipped up once doesn't mean that's who we are as people. We've all made that one stupid mistake before, that we know is wrong. If we can realize that it was wrong, then we can prevent it from happening altogether. They in addition, they could also say that it could become dangerous. My response to that is all medical procedures are. There was this person a few months ago who broke his legs so that he could be a few inches taller, and that is perfectly legal. So why should memory erasure be? Let's also take a look at cancer treatment. That is also incredibly risky, but many people each year to undertake it. As plastic surgery is meant to fix physical imperfections, this fixes someone with cancer. Wait, what?
It's overtime. You went to 5 minutes. Yeah. Thank you for that speech. Second speaker of opposition.
If we erase our memories, we can't learn from our mistakes if we just decide to forget them all. Also, having traumatic memories might seem very painful at the first time, but people can actually build resilience from it. Also, think about justice. If someone can erase memories of, yeah,
Are you basically saying that suffering is good since it builds resilience?
yes.
Okay, so you put someone through intense pain just for the small chance that they can grow from it?
We don't want to put them at intense pain, but if they are in intense pain, we can actually adapt from it.
Okay, but wouldn't it be better to just have not suffered at all? Because by your logic,
Not a conversation.
you're basically just saying that it's
You know
good
what?
to
They're not
torture.
a conversation. Yinho, please proceed.
Okay. Think about justice. If someone can erase memories of doing something wrong, what stops a criminal from erasing guilt? What about witnesses? Memory is a key to accountability. So if we decide to erase our memories, and if a criminal decides to, then wouldn't he just make the same mistake again? How do we prevent him from doing that? Also, if we're allowed to forget a breakup, can you forget an embarrassment, a bad grade, a political scandal? This policy would turn emotional discomfort into something we just skip over instead of dealing with like mature people. If there is a crime, should we remove the memory of the witnesses? Memories aren't isolated. Erasing one bad memory might erase your memories of friendships, growth, and important changes. The other theme is describing situations that are specific, but if that has happened, wouldn't the world be more desperate for a machine? Scientists have no desperation to create memory loss machines. Also, imagine how many machines would be needed to be created that wouldn't that also be a problem? We're just spending millions of dollars just for the comfort of people erasing bad mistakes from their memories. And even if you erase your memory, the bad mistake would have already happened. So you can't change any outcome of that. If a person can't live a normal life, wouldn't forgetting a memory cause more forgetfulness of what a normal life is? Wouldn't that make someone lose touch of what reality is and make them unnatural in some ways? The proposition said that erasing memories should be a freedom, but if a psychopath decides to erase all of their memories, isn't that basically allowing suicide? Finally, people can learn from their traumatic memories. It can make people stronger and make them adapt to their problems. Thank you.
Thank you for that speech. Just a reminder that POIs are from 1 minute to the 3rd minute mark, and POIs are not a conversation, so you cannot ask a POI and then try to respond to them back. Reply speaker of opposition, please.
Our statement is about how we should always try and not like erase our memories. So our first speaker tried to describe the scenarios of what could happen and like what could be a result of what happens of like AI taking over the world. Our second speaker was talking about more of situations of like if we forget a condition like a bad grade or political, that would result in this. And also talking about the opposition of talking about like suicide and like what we're trying to describe the scenarios of the others. And why I think we should win this debate is because we are describing like the opposition situations and what are they describing. And we're talking about more of a bigger box and we're thinking in that way because like we're describing like what if we do create a machine, like if we create a machine, wouldn't that cost millions of dollars? Should we do that for every person that's a bad memory? What if it's just a small thing? We're thinking like completely, not always in single part.
Thank you for that speech and proposition to end up this debate.
Sulin, in this debate, we have shown you why the proposition side clearly wins today. We explained why people should be allowed to erase memories, such as guilt and wrongdoing will cause people to not have a normal life. Also, Subin said, we as humans don't want to see people suffering from pain. This is exactly why the government should support erasing memories. The opposition side said erasing memories is inherently flawed because how would erasing traumatic events would change your vocabulary? Again, it is clear that we have won. First of all, what is the main reason for deleting memories? It is to forget all the traumatic experiences and memories, just like what I've said in my speech. They sexually harass women. Even though the opposition side has said we have to experience traumatic scenes because it is how we learn and grow. However, if I was a sexually harassed woman, I would not get out of my room and stay locked up, meeting no one due to the traumatic memory. As you can imagine, I would definitely be living a better life after erasing my memory. So, Silin, I'm pretty sure that I have made a clear statement that the proposition side has won. Thank you.
Thank you for that debate. Just give me around 5 minutes to finish up the ballot. Yeah. Hi guys, thank you for that amazing debate, and I'm going to start my oral adjudication that will last for around 10 minutes. So I'm going to do it speaker by speaker, and I'm going to analyze what they did good, what they did bad, and how they can improve. Okay, so starting with Alon, our first speaker of the debate from proposition side, I think that I get your point on why you're trying to do the hook, trying to get the attention, but on your reply speech, your hook was way better on like calling the judge's name because it drags the attention, especially when a debate is like this, where like engagement is lacking. You have to call the judge's like name, call for their attention to compel like their attention to. And so I think there could be a better hook, or if you are going to use this hook, link it back to your main point. So I know your hook is about she got married to this respectable lawyer, that thing, right? I feel like you're just saying it and then you're just moving on. Like, say it and then say why it matters. Like, This matters because blah blah blah. And also in your introduction, regarding your introduction, I think you should signpost. This means like saying what you're going to do in your speech. Like, for example, I'm going to do 3 things in my speech. Number 1, setup and characterization. Number 2, arguments. Number 3, why we win today's debate, and some comparative weighing, maybe. Something like that, okay? So the judge is easier to follow. And also, yeah, this is good characterization, correct stakeholder analysis, and your counterfactual is there, but it's very vague. I think this is why Aiden doesn't really respond to it because you made it really vague. So make this more clear because I see what you're trying to do with the amount of legalization and the formality, but it lacks the expression and the depth about why this is important. So I think your argument analysis is good. You're doing the mechanism I told you about why is this so, even if this is not true, why is this better, and number 3, the impact of this argument. But I feel like number 1, you're not saying your argument name, which is really confusing. And number 2, I don't think you're doing the true part correctly because you're just saying like kind of why it matters. It's very like vague also. So like set the nuance a little more, okay? And then in your characterization, you should also do what the status quo looks like. Status quo means now. So what does it look like outside? What is these people feeling like? What kind of experiences are they going through? I mean, you mentioned about like sexual harassment, you mentioned about like other things like the diseases, insomnia, or like things like that. But like I think you can do a little more of that. Your car example about how you can't go outside to see like cars and things were very good. This was like the one a status quo analysis you gave, but I think you could do better. But why is it necessarily exclusive on your side? You have to say that. And time management, I think you were a little under time, right? So yeah. And then one more point of feedback. You should do preemptions. This means like expecting what they're gonna tell you, and then like rebutting to them in advance. Okay. So on to Aiden, our second speaker of the debate, then from opposition. I think the most glaring problem in your speech was that this is not a memory loss problem. It is information that people choose to delete because it is so painful for them. I think that it is good that you already mentioned that life is about the memories and the experiences that you stack up, but you just say this one liner and you don't really explain what this means. And you start off your speech by saying confusion and difficulty, meaning that you lose to your sense of yourself. So I think this is true, and I get what you're trying to say, but I don't think this was explained enough. So you said that it's hard time losing information, but it is you trying to choose to erase your memory, and just because like you only live once, like a YOLO lifestyle, we call it. Remember the pain in your life, experience more pain than before. This is like literally what you say, right? But they say that they're gonna develop a legalized system, a formal system that would like legally be able to go step by step to see whether this is worthy of deleting or not. So remember that. And you suddenly talk about AI. I don't really get why you talk about that. Yeah. So where are your arguments? Yeah. I think this is just the whole case. Your arguments are slightly there, but you need a more nuanced and a more layered mechanism, which I'm going to teach you next class maybe. And then Subin, third speaker from Proposition. This is a very good hook, but it's not compelling. I think the main reason is because you're so fast. Like I can't really hear what you're saying. You know, like if you want to get your speech in someone's ears and if you want them to remember what you're saying, you have to say it slow. Like say it slow that people really understand like every bit of your speech, right? So you say that there are extreme stances like insomnia. This is a good stakeholder analysis. And this is a very good clarification about the traumatic experiences. Because I feel like I already mentioned, but like Elon could have done a better job explaining what their plan was about the legalization, that thing, right? But you clarified this, which was very good. But this should have been done in Elon's speech, okay? And also, yeah, where are your rebuttals? This is the main point of your speech. All you say is like a slight bit of like it's not good, like it's not gonna work. But this is not nuanced enough. You need more information, you need more characterization of what this actually looks like. Your argument included autonomy and social and economic impact. And these are all very good ideas, but I think you need to layer this more. Like, you have no impact to your argument. So as I mentioned in prep time before, you say why this is true, but you never say, even if it's not true, and even if you don't buy it, why is it still more effective? And you also don't say what the impact is. So you're missing 2 layers of evidence, okay? So I recommend you to do at max 2 arguments in your speech, since you're doing rebuttals too. Your rebuttal should be like half your speech. And then you layer all your arguments really well, and then you do extensions. Oh yeah, and also you have to do extensions to Elan's speech, because you're the second speaker, you have to link back to her. Like, for example, her argument was based on like the traumatic experiences, right? And yours was based on like economic autonomy and things like that. What you could have said, instead of just saying, oh, they have their own right to their own body, so why should I not have the choice to also choose what I have to remember in my own body, since it's my body, right? You can also say like, this also links to Elan's speech about traumatic experiences, because I alone do not want to live with like trauma and things like that, so that you can like keep linking back. And when you do social and economic impact, I think your only 1 layer of evidence is like the USA, like it costs a lot, whatnot, things like that, right? And so you have to prove why this solution is the only exclusive solution, okay? And you're very over time. In competitions, they'll stop you 15 seconds after your time limit, and POIs are not a conversation, remember that. And opposition. So the main point is that you cannot follow a world of utopia and from nirvana fallacy, okay? So because this is an extremely uncharitable case, because your case is engaging with the very best case of your side and the very worst case of their side. So like you're comparing like unfair advantages, right? It should be the other way around. It should be even why your case is better than their best case. This is what a reply speaker is supposed to do. So rebuttals, the only thing you just say about rebuttals is that you can't learn from mistakes. First of all, you have to add more layers. Second of all, this is the same rebuttal from Aiden's speech, which is not effective. And number 3, you say that it builds resilience. This is a very good point, and I honestly think that this should be your argument. I don't know why you just said it as a one-liner. You should explain more. Yeah, so as I mentioned before, POIs are not a conversation, so call it out, okay? You literally have to say, POIs are not a conversation, and it is after like 1 minute or something, so please engage with the after, or something like that, to call them out, make them like feel like they're not like following the guidelines and things like that, not to shame them, but to show your point that you understand what you're debating about. And then you said memories are not isolated. I think all statements are very good, but no layers of mechanism. Aiden as reply speaker. This is a good summary of your case. You also have to do a summary of their case, by the way, and be more realistic. Like, you say, what if it's a small thing, like, for example, your dog dying or your hamster dying? Or what if that, right? But from Elan and Subin's speech, they already mechanized it carefully in order to say, like, oh, we're gonna have this regulation. Although they could have done it better, we're gonna have this regulation to say if it is a small thing, can you wait like 2 minutes? If it is a small thing, then the government's gonna say like, oh, this is not worthy of deleting because it's gonna take like time and effort and things like that, right? And Elan, good job saying the name, like very good. It catches the judge's attention. And next time, if you don't know their name in like a competition or something, just say judge, or like if there's panel, like if there's multiple judges, just say panel and then start, okay? So good clarification and the link of what this is the purpose for. This is very good. This is what should belong in a reply speech. And good status quo comparison here. Like you should have done it in your first speech though. And like you don't need to say your judge's name too much though. Say the judge like next time. So like if you want to say like important like explanation, then you can say like this is a round winning statement and then say it, or like this is why we take this ballot home and then say it, or like judge listen to this, or like judge note that, things like this. Like things like directly connect to what the judge is looking for, you know? Okay. Thank you guys.